And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagles still licking their wounds from a couple of embarrassing lopsided losses on the road in California. First, they were outscored 29-0 in the second half of their matchup with Fresno State, in which they lost 42-13. And then the following week, they set an all-time record for yards given up in a game, 750 plus against USC, unranked so far on the season. They gave up over 100 points in those two games. Head coach Clay Helton feels that they showed some progress from week 1 to week 2, but they're going to really have to have some more progress as they open up play at home at Paulson Stadium coming up Saturday evening, as they'll be hosting Jacksonville State, who are coming off an impressive victory last weekend against Liberty. We'll hear from Coach and a couple of the players. As for our area high school, the Statesboro Blue Devils opened up region play with a victory 42-28 over Greenbrier. This week they're on the road at Glynn Academy. We'll hear from Matt Dobson and a few of his players. The Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, maybe not a moral victory, but they took Calvary Day down to the wire before finally falling to the number 5 ranked team in state in AAA by a score of 28-24. We had a chance to talk with Jared Zito about their matchup this week at home as they'll be hosting Johnson. As for the Bulloch Academy Gators, they're coming off a 6-overtime crazy victory over Robert Toombs on the road, in which they had nearly 300 yards of penalties. They'll hope to clean that up this week, and they'll have to, as they're taking on the number 1 team in GIAA, John Millage Academy, coming in to Gator Alley. We had a chance to talk with Coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about the upcoming matchup at Gator Alley. And as for the Portal Panthers, they are coming off a loss in their region opener at Jenkins County this Friday night. They'll be at home as they look to rebound against Bryan County. All that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. This segment of the Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part by Girard Pre-Owned Vehicles, quality cars, trucks, and SUVs right here in Statesboro, Georgia. Voted best place to buy 10 years running. 2330 Northside Drive West. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles in desperate need of a victory and some morale boost after a couple of tough trips on the road in California to Fresno State and to USC. The last game Saturday, 59 points that they surrendered to USC. 59-20 was the final. Set a school record for 750 yards given up in that game on offense and given up 100 points in the past 2 games. Head coach Clay Helton not pleased with the way things are right now, but he feels like the team still has all their goals set ahead of them, and he hopes they can rebound this week against Jacksonville State.
Yeah, great to see everybody. Great to be back in Statesboro, Georgia, preparing for the Jacksonville State game, and finishing up this California swing. Obviously not the results we wanted in game 1 and 2, but to go through that adversity and be able to grow as a football team and see the growth from week 1 to week 2 in several areas made me happy. I want to see our team continue to progress. I thought offensively we got into a better flow in the game versus USC, being able to move the ball. I thought specifically creating more balance in the running attack produced a more balanced offense. Obviously the biggest area of growth still for us is our run defense. We're getting ready to play another good run offense in Jacksonville State. Progressing in that area is going to be critical, going from game 2 to game 3. We look forward to being back in Paulson Stadium with Eagle Nation, starting this second part of this non-conference series. It's kind of like a new mini season here with these next 2 home games. They're going to be extremely important as we go through conference. With that, I'll take any questions you have. Josh.
Coach, start off defensively from this last game. Mm-hmm. You gave up over 500 yards of total offense, 42 points the first week, and then 59 and 750 yards of total offense this past Saturday. I know you had mentioned last week when we talked assignment issues, alignment issues, and some tackling. You felt like those were all fixable. Where do you feel like you went? Do you feel like you improved, or
is there continued growth? Obviously, that's a great observation, Josh. There's continued growth in that run game area. When we're in position, we need to make plays, and that's our area of growth. I thought the assignment piece was better. I thought the alignment piece was better. Now we need to, when we put ourselves in that position, to be able to get the ball down.
Coach, after the first game, you mentioned adversity and improving after adversity. The second as well. You got 2 home games coming up. The season's still up for you. 1990 team. I've been around long enough to know they started off, lost 2 big games, and come back to win the national championship. What do you say to Eagle Nation, the guys out there, the ladies out there that are upset, disappointed? I know you probably are as well. But to keep them, give them something to see that, this can be turned around. What makes you feel like this can be turned around?
Well, having done it for 30 years and know the quality of football team we have and where they are in their mindset, I know they're going to leap forward. And I hope to see that in these next 2 home games, which are going to be really important for not only us, I think the whole league. You see the whole league right now. We played some really good football teams, and I think the whole league is taking these next 2 games prior to conference, and they are big games. And I've told our staff that. I told our players that. I have total confidence in our football team. I have total confidence in our staff and what they're going to put their best foot forward. Charles Kelly has his thumbprint on this whole program right now. Charles is a friend. I've always respected him. One of the top coordinators. There's been in college football for several years, and now he gets his opportunity to be a head coach. And you can see his footprint. He's really leaning on his strength right now, which I think they're playing really good defensive football. You saw them hold Central Florida and keep their offense in it in that game. A 17-14 game. And then you see what they did to Liberty last week, creating the havoc of 2 turnovers that gave them great field position to get out on downs on one time, which is like creating another turnover. And they're just playing great defense right now. And then they did the things that they needed to do to support that defense. You only saw 12 passes in that game. They established their run game, and it played really clean football. You got 2 teams that are playing really clean football this week. They did not turn the ball over, only had 1 penalty. We had 1 turnover last week, only 1 penalty. So you got 2 teams playing really clean football right now. He's doing a tremendous job. I've been very impressed with the 2 games that they've opened up with.
Well, we had a chance to talk with a couple of the players as well, both hoping to bounce back this week. We had a chance to talk with David Bedinga, Eagles running back, as well as linebacker Brendan Harrington, who came to Georgia Southern once before when he was a member of the Appalachian State Mountaineers. This time he's hoping to hear some cheers instead of boos from the crowd as the Eagles host Jacksonville State.
It's going to be special. Like you said, playing on the other side, I know how special this stadium is and how powerful it is. Being on the other side, being right behind the student section, it's hard playing on that sideline. It's tough. It's night games down here in Statesboro. It's a tough environment to play in, and that's how it should be. And it should be respected, and it should be known that whenever you come here to play at Paulson, we expect to win, and we go out there and we represent something bigger than us. All the players that have played here before us, all the coaches, and everybody that has laid the foundation of this program.
Like you said, it's been a tough couple of weeks, but despite that, we're still looking at the positives. From week 1 to week 2, I feel like we made major strides, especially as an offense. Like Coach Owen said, just the flow of the game, we've been being better at being able to control that, being able to establish a better run game, keeping our guys on the field longer, and also getting our defense a time to rejuvenate a little bit. So it has been disappointing, but then again, we are also looking at the positives, and we are proud that to make those advancements. We are still looking to, of course, always get better and encourage that from week 2 to week 3 and keep making positive strides.
All right, high school action and previews coming up next. Gerard Pre-Owned of Statesboro voted best place to buy a pre-owned vehicle 12 years running. 3 decades of experience in serving our community. Locally owned and operated, every vehicle undergoes rigorous multi-point inspections and thorough reconditioning. Flexible financing for all credit types, whether you're starting fresh or building credit, they've got you covered. Experience the Girard difference today. 2330 Northside Drive West in Statesboro. Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils opened up the region play with a 42-28 victory last week against Greenbrier to move to 2-1 on the season. This week, a pivotal game in region play that could be a state playoff spot down the road, as they're going to be traveling to Brunswick to take on Glynn Academy. We had a chance to talk with Matt Dobson and a couple of players about the matchup. Here with Statesboro High head coach Matt Dobson. And coach, coming off a huge win against Greenbrier, a team that beat you last year, a team that beat you partially because you beat yourself, and this past Friday was close for a while, and it seemed like you guys answered every call that you had to do.
Yeah, it was a good ball game. I think offensively, especially second quarter on, played really well. Second half of the second quarter, offense really came alive and played really well for the rest of the game. And then defensively, just made stops when we needed them. Certainly was not a perfect game by anybody. Defensively, especially, we missed some tackles that we need to make, and just missed some run fits, especially. But once again, you come up with plays when you needed them. Offense turned the ball over one time. I had our first turnover of the year, and defense was able to respond right back and create another turnover. So proud of our guys. Just a total win. Special teams wise, we cleaned up a lot of our mistakes from the Veterans game and made a big play where we were going to block a punt, and their punter saw we were going to block it, and he tried to kind of tuck it down. We tackled him and got a turnover there and got points right off of that. So kicked a couple touchbacks, and so just a total team effort.
Keon Childers rushes for 4 touchdowns. Beckham rushes for over 100 yards and throws for over 100. Your offensive line holding up pretty well. Your thoughts on especially the offensive side? Yeah,
I think, the first half we actually threw it a little bit more than we ran it. We ran the football more times than we threw it, but we threw the ball more successfully in the first half. We struggled a little bit in the run game. We were able to come inside at halftime and make some adjustments scheme-wise, but more so than anything, just challenge our guys. Really get them in here and show them some stuff and just really challenge them. And our offensive line really stepped up in the second half and opened up some big lanes. And then, we got guys who get open space. They can make things happen with Keon and Beckham. So proud of those guys. We rushed for 250 yards in the second half. And anytime you can rush for 250 yards in a half, it's a good night. So just proud of those offensive linemen, tight ends, fullbacks, all those guys stepping up to the challenge there.
Well, speaking of challenge, you got one coming up here Friday. You got to go all the way down on the road to Brunswick to take on Glynn Academy, a team that's kind of changed things around offensively, struggled a little bit last week. Your thoughts on going into this game, which could be a key for a state playoff spot?
Yeah, it's going to be a unique challenge with them under center running the flex bone, triple option. Obviously presents, just a unique challenge just because, once again, you don't see it very much. Luckily for us, we saw, a different type of option in week 1 against Southeast Bulloch, but still the option principles are there. And this summer we saw some people with Dublin and a couple other guys running some option principles, and so we've seen some of that, but it's definitely a unique challenge, something our guys don't see very often, and so excited about it. I know we'll have a great defensive game plan by our defensive staff, and excited for that. But certainly when we want to go on the road and play well and just continue to try to find ways to go 1-0 each week, and just as we get into October, have ourselves set up for a playoff spot so we can keep playing in November.
What do you think you have to do in order to come out with a win Friday?
I think the turnover margin is going to be big, just like it is every week. We've done a tremendous job of that this year. We're plus 6 in the turnover margin through 3 games. That's been a big part of our success this year. So we want to keep doing that. And then the rushing battle is a big part. Obviously we've had a good bit of success this year running the football, more so than previous years. And then obviously that's what they want to do with being under center triple. They're gonna run it. If they have 55 snaps in the game, they're gonna run it 50 of those. And so we got to find ways to stop the run and then create explosive plays in the run game like we did in the second half last week.
We're here with Statesboro High defensive standout Xavier Spells, and Xavier coming off the win against Greenbrier region opener. What do you feel like you guys did well, and what areas do you still feel like you need to improve a little bit?
I feel like we did well, like making adjusting the stuff. Areas we need to improve in, tackling and communication. Those are the 2 big ones. Coach
has mentioned how important it was to get off to a good start this season. You're 2-1. going into this week at Glynn. How do you feel like you guys are playing right now?
I feel like we're playing more as a team than last year. I feel like everybody brought into the program.
This week you go on the road, pretty big road trip for you at Glynn Academy. Could have some state playoff seedings for you guys. You're going against a team that usually was throwing the ball. This time they're running the ball a lot more. What do you see out of Glynn? What do you expect?
Expect a lot of triple option, really.
What does that mean you have to do on defense?
Be physical, definitely, and do your job.
We're here with Statesboro offensive lineman Jeremiah Kegler, and guys coming off a big win, an opener against Greenbrier for the region. And what do you feel like you guys did on offense well, and also for the offensive line?
On offense, what we did well during the second half, we moved the ball really good for like 200 yards, for rushing 200 yards. For offensive line as a whole, I feel like our communication was much better than the prior game against veterans. Communication is key, really. So, yeah, I feel like that's what we did good.
Got a big game coming up, another region game with a tough team, Glynn Academy. You go to their place. What do you feel like you guys have to do in order to pull out a win?
To pull out a win, I think that we have to, I know that we have to do the communication part again as good as we did last week. Also, get prepared mentally, physically, with hydration and stuff as well, because obviously we don't need no cramps out there. Heard the defense was pretty solid, so we need to get around to doing better on that as well.
This is Paul Newman, owner and broker of Statesboro Real Estate. I have been in the business over 20 years and completed well over 1,000 transactions, helping buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the home buying process. One of the things that sets us apart is our tie to the university. I'm the official real estate agent of Georgia Southern Athletics. With our team of experienced brokers and agents and our online presence, we can help you navigate any deal. Along with Statesboro Real Estate, I'm the co-owner of PMG Rentals, where we manage over 1,300 properties, improving the lives of investors and tenants since 2009. Whether you're looking to rent, buy, or sell, make sure you call Paul.
At Pope Construction, we've been trusted to build Southeast Georgia for over 50 years. Family owned and operated, we take pride in delivering quality projects on time, every time. From schools to churches and government facilities, our team is committed to integrity, excellence, and building relationships in the communities we serve. Learn more at popeconstructionco.com. Well, the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets took Calvary Day down to the wire before losing to the number 5 ranked team in the state by a final score of 28-24. They had the lead into the fourth quarter, but gave up a late touchdown to lose that game. We had a chance to talk with head coach of the Yellow Jackets, Jared Zito, about how he feels they took a step forward this past week and the matchup that they've got coming up with Johnson on Friday night. Here with Southeast Bulloch head coach Jared Zito. And coach, I know there's no such thing as moral victories, but you play a team that had you down last year 21 or 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, and you had the lead in the fourth quarter before they finally came back. What does a game like the Calvary game do for you guys?
Well, hopefully, if our guys see it the right way, and we've kind of tried to send that message to them on Monday and Tuesday. Number one, I was, super proud of them, how hard they played and how physical they played. But the biggest thing I said is, guys, you proved you belong in those conversations with the better teams in 3A, and because you just took, top 5 team in the state. It's really talented, really well coached, right down to the wire. And it came down to a few plays of mental errors on our side, and they made a few more plays than we did. But can't be more proud of their effort and their willingness to go all in to try to beat those guys.
What did you like in particular that you saw from your team?
I loved our secondary play in terms of defending the pass. That we felt like that was going to be a real big challenge. Really talented receiver groups, a really super quarterback I thought on film, and we did a really good job there. I thought up front, offensive line and our running backs played really well. And just overall, I thought our willingness to be physical all night for 4 quarters was impressive.
This week you got Johnson coming in here, another game at Fred Shaver Field. How do you feel going in, and what are you looking from your team?
Well, it's going to be middle school and youth recognition night, so always excited to get those guys out here and hopefully fill the stadium, cheer our guys on. Johnson, I think they do a good job with their kids. They're coaching them up. They got some skilled kids. They got a really dynamic quarterback, maybe one of the faster players I've seen in a while. So we got to do a good job of tackling him and taking care of him. The biggest thing for us is, trying to get back in the win column, get that bad feeling out of us, get another region win, which would be really important, and of course winning at home would be spectacular.
The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part thanks to Morris Bank, proud sponsor of our Player of the Week segment.
Pojo's Country Store is proud to support all Bulloch County and surrounding area athletics. We've been fueling up for almost 20 years, with 3 locations in Statesboro and locations in Sylvania, Wadley, and Bagsley. Pojo's Country Stores is the real MVP. And a special shout out to our Bulloch Academy Gators. Go get them.
Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators head coach Aaron Phillips has been around a long time, but he's never seen a game like he saw this past Thursday at Robert Toombs, in which the Gators were flagged for 280 yards. The game goes to 6 overtimes, and they finally win 38-36. We had a chance to talk with Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about the upcoming matchup with John Milledge. Here with Bulloch Academy head coach Aaron Phillips, and coach, coming off kind of a crazy game this past week, almost 300 yards and penalties. I know there's some things in there that you learned from. What's the biggest takeaway from this past week?
Well, I mean, when you have a game like this and things aren't going your way and whether they're your fault or not or whatever, what we have to take away from a game that went into 6 overtimes is the experience won in playing overtime. And, you have to be positive with these kids about they keep fighting. They don't give up. It looked like we were down and out at times, and especially in the overtime, and they just kept getting up and kept fighting and kept swinging, and that's a positive. So we're going to build on that. We're going to build on that experience and hope we don't have to use it anymore. But, I think it's a valuable lesson for us to teach these guys that, no matter what, we're going to keep coming out swinging, and no matter what round it is. And if we do that, we're going to be able to win some close games.
Well, you've got quite a step up in competition this week. John Milledge comes in. Their quarterback is transferred from state playoff team that went all the way last year, and presents a lot of challenges that you guys haven't seen this year.
Yeah, so they're obviously, JT Wall, Coach Wall over there, and their DC, Justin Mills, they do a great job. I mean, those guys have been over there 15, 16 years or longer, and, you don't win 57 games in a row and 4 state titles or whatever it is, in a row without doing something right, So their team's very well coached. I mean, their quarterback came in from Northeast Macon, who played for the state title last year in GHSA, and so he's a big, tall, left-handed quarterback, throws it real well, baseball kid, and so he does pose a threat. I mean, he'll be the best quarterback we've seen this year, and one good thing here is we got him at home, and we were able to play him last year, so hopefully we kind of know a little something about, what to expect and, what they want to do against us and what we want to do against them. And so, but it'll be a great challenge for us. I mean, we're going to have to clean up a lot of mistakes on our end. we can't get frustrated when things don't go our way. That's our biggest takeaway from last week that we're going to implement this week, is that, even when things are stacked against us and we're not going our way, we're not getting a call we think we should have got, or got a call we thought we shouldn't have got, we have to keep our composure as a staff, as players, everybody, and just fans included, it's an emotional game, but you got to leave the emotions out of those things. And so you just got to keep playing and keep chopping, and good things will happen if you'll do that. So we like one of the things is we're blessed to have this opportunity. They're the number 1 ranked team in 3A, and so we want to beat those teams. And so that, when you have a little success like we have and they have, it's hard to find games sometimes. So you end up playing, non-region opponents that are ranked really high in their classification. So it'll be a great atmosphere here Friday night, and I hope we show up and play the way that we have potential to play, and I like our chances.
We're here with Bulloch Academy defensive back Nick Eason. And Nick, coming off a crazy game on the road at Robert Toombs, how are you guys feeling coming out of that game, and what areas do you feel pretty good about?
Well, obviously it was a tough game. We expected to just blow them out the water, but it turned out to be a tough game. But I feel like we're doing good at being physical and running to the ball.
Got a big step up in competition this week. JMA comes in, they're undefeated. What do you expect out of John Millage coming up Friday?
Well, I know they're going to be a good team, so we're going to have to put up a good fight against them and not let up against them. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game to watch.
They've got a really good quarterback. He likes to throw the ball around, so you guys are going to be tested in the defensive secondary, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are.
How do you feel about that challenge?
I feel like we should rise up to the challenge. We should be able to lock the receivers down, smack everything down, get interceptions. We should get that.
All right, we're here with Bulloch Academy defensive lineman Braylon Cohn. And Braylon, your thoughts on last week's game and what you guys need to improve on?
My thoughts on last week's game, it was a close game. I honestly thought that we were going to go just be way more physical, dominate the whole game. But that didn't obviously work out that way, so we just had to keep our heads down and keep focusing through the whole game, and thankfully we came out with the win.
What did you learn from that game to carry on and help you maybe the rest of the season?
I definitely feel like we have to always be physical. We can't just, turn it on and turn it off. We have to be physical through the whole game. That showed against Robert Toombs last week, because there was times that we just kind of went with the motion when we should have been dominating the whole game. So yeah, I feel like that's what we need to work on.
All right, well, you got a good challenge coming up here Friday here at Gator Alley. John Millage comes in, one of the better teams in the state. How are you guys feeling about them and what they bring to the table?
Obviously, JMA is a really good team. Last year, we beat them pretty good, but they were still a good team. So this year, I feel like we need to just step up a little bit. This is obviously going to be the best team that we've faced this season. They got a lot of good athletes, a lot of good size. So we're just looking to dominate, keep our heads down, and just get a win.
And a reminder, the Portal Panthers in action this Friday as they'll be hosting Bryan County. That'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.